You're a Democratic socialist.
We have
you didn't vote for Kamala Harris, right?
We have other ground to cover. We have other ground.
Said leave it blank in the presidential primary because primaries are a place to air dissent. And like many Americans, I was horrified by the Israeli genocide of Palestinians. And if you want to look for me on the ballot, you'll find me as the Democrat.
Mr. Mamdani, thank you.
I think that's completely reasonable. He didn't vote for Kamala in the primaries, but when it came down to it, he voted for Kamala still. So
the assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The assemblyman will not denounce Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11.
The occupation is a reference to...
Did Hassan actually say America deserves 9/11? I don't think he said that. I would have to go look that up, obviously, but let's continue.
International law and the violation of it, which Mr. Cuomo has no regard for since he signed up to be Benjamin Netanyahu's legal defense team during the course of this genocide. You know, it took Andrew Cuomo being beaten by a Muslim candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10 years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited.
ZOHRAN MAMDANI, the president has already said it's going to take $7 billion out of the budget right from the start if you're elected mayor.
So what this man, this old white man in the middle is talking about is Donald Trump stating that he is going to withhold federal funding from New York City, $7 million or billion, he said.
Elected mayor. People are going to suffer from the start if you're elected dollars out of the budget. Already said it's going to take $7 billion.
$7 billion out of the budget. That is Donald Trump trying to wave his minuscule power and trying to do a piss contest here with ZOHRAN, trying to make sure he does not get elected by using his presidential power to manipulate the elections and minds of people, saying, if you vote for this man, you're not going to get any of the money that you guys need. But that's not on ZOHRAN. That's on our president for being a dipshit. That's on our president for abusing his presidential power, which he doesn't have. Because guess what? When there's funds allocated through Congress, who has the power of the purse, those funds have to go to the actual state that they're doled out to. Trump doesn't just get to say that state gets money and that one doesn't, because that's not a part of his presidential power. Even though he's trying to consolidate that right now, that does not work in the United States because Congress has the power of the purse. Trump, you can say all you want, you can threaten all you want that, you know, you're going to withhold funds from New York City if you guys vote ZOHRAN as the mayor. But the truth is your power does not hold that accountability for yourself.
Out of the budget right from the start if you're elected mayor. People are going to suffer in this city. People who need those federal funds.
Yeah, people are going to suffer not because ZOHRAN. The people are voting for ZOHRAN. People are going to suffer because Trump is withholding funds. Let's play the blame game right here. The blame game is on Trump, not on ZOHRAN, who is being elected legally through an election process that our American citizens have a right to vote and elect anyone they want in that position. What is illegal and what is very bastardly is Trump trying to withhold those funds to manipulate and interfere in an election and cause fear that you're not going to get your funds because you're going to vote someone that Trump doesn't like.
What I would do is sit and negotiate.
You know, Mr. Trump is already suspending infrastructure grants to this city, and he's doing it in a blatant act of political retribution.
I went through this with him. He sent the National Guard to 20 cities when I was governor. You know what city he didn't send them to? New York. Why? Because I said to him, don't you dare, we don't need it, and he backed down, and he will again.
That's
I agree with Police Commissioner Tisch in that we do not need the National Guard here in New York City. We do not need them for the purpose of safety, because if it was safety that President Trump was so concerned about, he would send them to the 8 out of 10 states that have the highest levels of crime in this country. But he won't, because they're all run by Republicans. Now, I'd be proud to be the first immigrant mayor of this city in generations. And it's at 26 Federal Plaza that I've seen what used to be moments when New Yorkers would be getting their citizenship turn into moments of tragedy. Andrew Cuomo thinks it's all right to spend $60 million to fund his legal defense from accusations of more than a dozen women of sexual harassment. But if I say we should spend the same amount of money on delivering cheaper groceries in this city through a pilot program, that is unfathomable. You've heard it from...
Oh! ZOHRAN, he slapped that man across the face. He said, I agree. Why do we continuously waste money? We waste $200 billion on Kristi Noem flying throughout the United States trying to, arrest good, hardworking Americans. We spend $200 million on that, and then we get Cuomo, who gets to spend $60 million of allocated funds from New York State to then, fight his legal battles against, harassment claims, sexual harassment claims from 12 different women. But why can't we use that federal tax money that we pay to actually help us as Americans? It's like, the dichotomy here is that Americans will always suffer when there's someone in power who wants to be greedy and misallocate those funds and use them for improper purposes. And ZOHRAN completely just put that out on the table and embarrassed Cuomo, because it's true. Why do we want a sexual predator as the mayor of New York City? Can someone explain that to me? I mean, half of you voted for a rapist to get into the presidency. I don't know why I'm surprised that some of you want a predator in the mayoral office of New York City.
From Andrew Cuomo, that the number one crisis in this city, the housing crisis, the answer is to evict my wife and I. He thinks you address this crisis by unleashing my landlord's ability to raise my rent. If you think that the problem in this city is that my rent is too low, vote for him. If you know the problem in this city is that your rent is too high, vote for me.
I was the HUD secretary. I built affordable housing all across this nation. I built affordable housing.
You built affordable housing all across this nation. But let's talk about the progress of that affordable housing, because that affordable housing that you most likely built is now increasing in rent prices.
In this city, when I was in my 20s, I know how to get it done.
Well, ZOHRAN, boy, your fantasies are never going to come about in terms of funding everything you want that's going to be free, free, free. It's a fantasy. Let's deal with the reality.
In other words, what the Assemblyman said is he has no experience.
What I don't have in experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you don't have in integrity, you could never make up for in experience.
Yes.
That man just ate him alive with that. Oh, ZOHRAN, you read down with that one. You ate and left no crumbs. What did he say? What you lack in experience, you can never make up with integrity. And what I lack in experience, I have an integrity.
In experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you don't have in integrity, you could never make up for in experience.
Yes.
ZOHRAN, he just went in on that man, dragged him down the mayoral steps. Woo!